when even your friends vanish, the hidden wisdom of Proverbs chapter 19, verse 7. Have you ever noticed how friends disappear in hard times? If life were like a high school cafeteria, wealth would be the kid holding a pizza party, and poverty would be the kid eating alone. We laugh because it's true, and yet it hurts, because most of us have lived some version of that lonely table moment. Lonely. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 7 pulls no punches. All the brethren of the poor do hate him. How much more do his friends go far from him? He pursueth them with words, yet they are wanting to him. It's raw. It's honest. And if we lean in, it's full of wisdom that points us to Jesus Christ, the one friend who never leaves. To fully appreciate Proverbs chapter 19, verse 7, we have to read it in its immediate context. This proverb sits in a cluster of verses, Proverbs chapter 19, verses 4 through 7, that talk about wealth, poverty, and relationships. Proverbs 19, verse 4 says, "Wealth maketh many friends, but the poor is separated from his neighbor." Proverbs 19, verse 6 says, "Many will entreat the favor of the prince, and every man is a friend to him that giveth gifts." The pattern is clear. Money and influence attract people, while need and vulnerability reveal who your real friends are. Now, let's break down the verse itself. All the brethren of the poor do hate him. Brethren implies family or community, those who should be most loyal. Hate here doesn't always mean open hostility. It can mean neglect, avoidance, or indifference. Like in Genesis chapter 29, verse 31, where a similar nuance shows up. How much more do his friends go far from him? Friends in this context are social companions, people who were near during the good times. Hardship exposes that their loyalty was tied to personal gain. He pursueth them with words, yet they are wanting to him. The poor man seeks help, maybe even pleading for mercy or companionship. Wanting means absent or unreliable. They just don't show up when it counts. This isn't just social commentary. It's honestly spiritual X-ray vision. The purpose of Proverbs chapter 19, verse 7 is to reveal the fragile nature of human relationships apart from godly love. First, it warns the rich not to trust in their social circles. They may vanish when the benefits dry up. Second, it prepares the poor to expect that human loyalty is often conditional. And third, it directs all of us to place our ultimate hope in God, not in social approval. Worldly relationships are, conditional, but God's love is covenantal. Wealth manipulates social gravity. People orbit where they can benefit. Poverty strips relationships to their true core. God calls his people to a love that is not transactional but steadfast, reflecting his own heart, just like it says in 1 John chapter 3, verses 17 and 18. While the world often overlooks the poor, God actually calls himself a father of the fatherless, like it says in Psalm 68, verse 5. He notices the ones that society tends to forget. The proverb, it kind of exposes our tendency to love only when there's something in it for us, a return on investment, so to speak. But Jesus, by contrast, said, "Love your enemies and do good and lend, hoping for nothing again," just like in Luke chapter 6, verse 35. In his earthly ministry, Jesus gravitated to the poor, the outcasts, and the despised, as we see in Luke 4:18. Where friends and family might fail, he fulfills covenant loyalty. So, just picture a tree in autumn for a moment. When the tree is full of leaves, kind of like having wealth or success, birds flock to it, singing and enjoying its shade. But when winter comes and the leaves fall, which is a bit like facing poverty or hardship, the birds just vanish. Yet, the roots in the soil remain, quietly sustaining the tree through that barren season. God's love is the root. Human approval is the migrating bird. And honestly, only what's rooted in Christ will endure the seasons of life. Every proverb is a shadow that finds its substance in Christ. The poor man in Proverbs chapter 19, verse 7, actually mirrors Jesus in his earthly suffering. As Isaiah 53, verse 3 says, "He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief." Jesus knows the pain of being abandoned in his hour of need. Even his closest disciples fled at the cross, as we see in Mark chapter 14, verse 50. But unlike worldly friends, Christ offers covenant love that never fails. As John 15:13 puts it, "Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends." This proverb honestly whispers the gospel. Man's love is fleeting, but Christ's love is forever. So here are 2 practical applications for everyday life. First, anchor your identity in God, not people. Seasons of rejection are actually invitations to deeper trust in the Lord. Psalm 27:10 says, "When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up." Try practicing starting and ending each day by affirming your worth in Christ, rather than in human approval. Second, be the friend you wish you had. Reflect Christ's heart by showing up for the people who can't repay you. Maybe invite a lonely neighbor for coffee, or send an encouraging note to someone walking through hardship. And remember Luke 14:13-14. "When thou makest a feast, call the poor, and thou shalt be blessed, for they cannot recompense thee." Proverbs 19:7 may feel like a cold splash of reality, but it's also a warm reminder that God sees, God cares, and God calls us to love like He loves. When friends vanish, let it drive you to the friend who sticks closer than a brother, as Proverbs 18:24 says. And then, let His love overflow to others, especially those sitting alone at life's cafeteria table. If you're ready to take the next step in strengthening your spiritual life, take the spiritual growth quiz today and discover how deep your roots really are.